This is very therapy-based. As I become more honest with myself over the past, say, year, as to my exact circumstance, it's a case of thinking or trying to be stronger, like that masculine trait of fighting your way through the impossible. It's not how I'm going to win this battle, because it's not where I want to be. And if I'm fighting from there as a starting point, I'm always going to have to come back to that place. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like once it passed a certain point, my health, my physical health, it was a case of I realized I'm never going to get my health back. I'm 37 now, and it's a case of all downhill from here. Plus I was doing a lot of good just before it all started to fall apart, and around the time that it started to fall apart, because I had money and I was buying supplements, and I had space in my life with the supplements, and I felt it was a shit life. It was very difficult, but there was an element of positivity compared to where I am now. I know the supplements gave me strength mentally, and obviously they must do a lot physically. Taking them and experiencing their effects, one from another, it basically says, yeah, they work. Why would one supplement be stronger than another on consuming? That stopped, my health further degraded. And it was a case of it past the point where I realized I'm entering old age, so to speak. And it's very scary, especially if you're coming from a health conscious background. But it passed a certain point and I realized I wasn't going to get it back. And as I was just trying to get on with life as the main focus, I was also well aware of all the trauma that had built up over the years. And I was becoming weaker in terms of my physical health. That was very much adding to that pile of trauma. It got past a point in relationship to that I realized without my physical health, I'm never going to be able to overcome that trauma. So I persisted and I became more and more honest to the trauma, where I wasn't able to focus on my physical health as I have done over the years. I've been fully focused on my physical body. It's giving me the strength. And that disappeared. So it was a case of I began to focus on, well, how terrible my life was. And how terrible my life was kept adding to the trauma. So that's where my focus went. But a strange thing happened when it sort of maxed out. And it hasn't really ever maxed out, but it hit a point where it overcame the physical pain, the physical problems. So the trauma surpassed the physical problems. And in that place, I realized, one, I don't have a mental health disorder. The mental health disorder is that space between accepting how bad things are, just accepting, and where you are in terms of accepting it. So if the reality of your life is it's this shit, your trauma, your pain body that people talk about and disconnect themselves from it, if your trauma is that much, it's over here, and you've only been able to accept this much, or if your trauma is this much and you've been able to accept this much, your mental health is about that much space to enter and give you real problems. In terms of the physical pain, I realized it's a case of, I half suspect it's because I've done Qigong over the years and I've given a lot of energy to my physical body, and I've worked with pain ever since I was a teenager. I've been such a clumsy idiot all my life that I've had so many accidents. Pain has been commonplace, but I work through it, I heal from it. I used to don the perception of, oh, I'm a man and I'm a this and I'm that. You don't take pain if you can handle it. So I fought against it. I learned how to deal with pain. And in that place where the trauma becomes more than the pain, because I've pretty much got it in a habitual, so in other words, I know how to deal with it pre-mandatory without having to think about it. So in other words, if I cut my finger, I can deal with it in the background and work through it in the background and not just leave it. I don't have to think about how I'm going to work through that pain. I can just do it with secondary, because I only cut on my finger. But the pain in my body is so severe, it's taken up all of my focus and attention until the trauma surpassed the pain. And in that place, I was just able to deal with this very, very severe amount of pain like I would do with a cut finger. And let's just say the trauma's been added on since then. And I suppose that's my job at the moment, and how this live stream is helping me, is to just be able to come to terms with that extra trauma that's been put on. And if I can do that, dealing with the pain should become, which is very, very severe, should become nothing more than a cut finger for me. But what happens is, because I'm in the battle at the moment, I got sidetracked a couple of weeks ago, and I started focusing on the pain again as the problem. my mental health has entered. And it's really, well, my mental health isn't doing anything. My mental health is basically a picture of how bad my life really is, and I still need to accept. And I'm constantly working through that on a conscious level. But for the past, well, this morning, what I've been seeing is my mental health, knowing that the reality of my life is very, very bad. And I just needed anything enter the live stream to just break my mind away from focusing on what I could see, which was my mental health. That's the lie. That's the distraction. To just be present on reality. And reality is, in all of that discomfort and agonization that I was experiencing this morning as a result of my mental health, it's not really going to change. That agonization is still there. But that agonization is trauma. And for me, it's like, again, through the work that I've been doing over the past year, I realized this. I had an experience, and this is before it got even worse, that it was like the claustrophobia. I couldn't be inside, so I went outside. Claustrophobic, the sky couldn't hold the trauma in me, and it's got a lot worse since then. So the trauma is pretty impossible to sit with, but I'm working through it. I've got an action plan, and as long as I can get to grips with it, feel it in places, I'm hoping I can learn to live with it. And it's just because I work through the pain in my body, it's so habitual to work through the pain, but with the trauma, it's not quite so focused to working through the pain as in that place where I found myself this morning. It's secondary. And for me to work through it in a secondary, unconscious, autonomic nervous system way, I need to separate myself from working from it. Give myself a break, give myself some space. And then I can feel all the pains in my body and just leave them. Focus on the trauma. Get on with something in terms of living my life in terms of having that trauma. And then I can work through my physical body again in the background. And that's really where I'm at with things. The stories my mental health was telling me about my experience of life, the troubles I have, it's like a maze that you're never going to get out of unless you're aware of what's going on. And it's really hard in the moment to disconnect from it. And basically, whatever visions, psychosis, my mental health has told me about my physical body and my life, to throw it in the bin, because when I'm there in the moment, it feels, because I'm working through it, it feels like I'm getting somewhere. But it's not the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth is the trauma. The ultimate truth is I should be working through it with my autonomic nervous system in the background, not focusing on it. And the truth is that the way my psychosis shows me my physical body in terms of being a problem is totally impossible, and it's a total lie, and it's total fiction. It seems very, very real because of the pressure and the trauma in the moment, that it's, what's it called when it's overlaying upon. It feels very, very real. But it's psychosis at the end of the day. This is my physical body. The Qigong training I've been given over the years is very much focused on my physical body. And I'm applying that Qigong to elements of psychosis that get away from the simple, fundamental functioning of my physical body. And I know for that reason, it's a load of bollocks. It's impossible. And that's just how to look at it. So I'm very shaken. I'm very weak. I'm disillusioned with life and everything. I have no real reason for living. I found a reason that I can focus on, but it's not a reason to live. Put my dinner's on. I'll press end. I'll go and pick up my dinner. I'll put some food in me to hopefully ground or just distract myself a little bit. And this afternoon, I'll go and pick up my Amazon order so I can fix my solar, which hasn't been working, and my batteries have run flat. The batteries that I bought and I've not ever used. So fingers crossed I can bring them back to life. The truth is, in terms of where I am, in the trauma, a brand new set of batteries that I've just wasted maybe a few £100 on, just doesn't bear any energy or any thought.